Well, good. She's going to the best place for her to be at in this situation. I mean, go figure. The person that's been on the breathing machines and all that stuff is now going to have
She's been off. Yesterday she looked fantastic. She hasn't been on oxygen in a week.
Yeah, but the damage was done. And she's old. And she's taking really shitty care of herself. And she, I know you don't seem to believe so, but cigarettes are really, really bad.
She doesn't smoke.
Okay, she doesn't need to. That house reeks of cigarettes. Reeks. Open the front door and you're hit with reeks of cigarettes. But see, again, like the average non-smoker, as soon as you bring up cigarettes, they're going to be like, oh yeah, cigarettes are bad, yada, 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 this, that, and other. Like, anybody who doesn't do the thing sees the thing and says, oh yeah, that's absolutely the problem, or a part of the problem. But if you smoke, then you're not going to acknowledge the deadliness of cigarettes. You know? Your mom could have lung cancer and you would deny that it had anything to do with cigarettes. And it's insane. It's insane what we'll do to maintain our belief structure. You know, when you're a Christian, you've had, you know, exponentially more of your prayers not answered than answered. And you know, maybe like once or twice you've prayed about something that happened to work out the way you did. Or if it's something that, you know, real selfish kind of bullshit where you told everybody what you wanted for Christmas and then you got that thing for Christmas. Like, that has nothing to do with God, you know. But you'll tell yourself that you've had your prayers answered before. It's funny, you know, most Christians, most Muslims, they'll claim to be witness to thousands of miracles. I've seen so many miracles, I can't even keep track. And all you have to say is, oh, really? Tell me one. And instead of being excited at this opportunity to tell you about this experience, they get mad.
This is
No thanks. I mean, you could smell it, so it wouldn't matter.
if they're all stored in the same container,
You'd
they all
still,
stink.
nah, you'd smell the difference. So, completely, without any research, without any preemptive thought or anything, somebody brought up the pyramids of Giza and the thing found underneath them. And I'd heard a little blip of it, but I hadn't really paid much attention because to me, everything that just happens to be coming out right now is clearly a distraction, is to try to keep us from focusing on Israel. And I went and I looked it up. The first thing that news story wise that pops up about it is the one that's the one the Google machine and the system wants you to see, so that's the one I'm going to look at. And I did. And I can't tell you what a fucking joke it is to think that the expert that was brought on happened to be that dumbass Ghislaine broad. And I'm just watching it going, if you want me to believe this narrative, and it's a real narrative, why would you have such an incompetent presenter, you know, being the source? It's the silliest shit. You're going to have some broad that's going to admit she doesn't know about the technology that's being used. She doesn't remember exactly how many columns are found or anything like that. And then she says the thing about the word pyramid, because the host had to remind her, because again, it's a pre-done segment. The fact that the host reminds her of what to say means the host knew what was going. She wasn't being presented this information for the first time. So when the one broad says, and the top used to be covered in gold, and the other chick says, I didn't know that. She'd already heard this presentation once. You know, and how you don't know the pyramids were covered in gold, that's a pretty common thing. It used to have a gold cap on the top. It was pristine all around it with a gold cap on the top. But the broad goes, well, the word pyramid in Egypt means pillar. Like, and the last thing she says is, which is, you know, maybe the pillars that were talked about in the story of Exodus. 3-minute interview. She acknowledges she has to bring up her Jewishness. They always do. It's there's no other reason why, of all the things that she would bring up, Exodus, other than to give that acknowledgement. That's not a story for the rest of us. That's a story for them of us. I mean, when next time I have the phone, I have to do Exodus again, because I only did a little bit of it. But the story of Exodus is just stupid. Like, you hear these narratives, even the Hollywood narrative, right? Where the Jays were supposedly, the Hollywoodism narrative, where they were in these villages, the Tsar let them have these villages. Right there. Why would they be allowed these villages? And then they show you the villages, and they're 2- and 3-story houses and all this other shit. And you're like,
Yeah, we're all going outside.
no, you're not.
It's cold as hell.
It's cold and raining and sleeting out. No, you're not.
Don't you remember the hail in my hair?
Their narratives are just stupid. And it's all fabricated bullshit. Like just the story of Samson. You know, he was so strong that he pulled down the pillars, and I mean, it's just all bullshit. They're just a bunch of liars. And it should be very obvious to people by now. It doesn't matter what, you know, what's going on. They have to identify themselves. Their arrogant stupidity overrides the common sense. At this point, especially with the way people are starting to catch on, you'd think they'd try to be a little more slick about it. But at this point, too, I don't think they care. They have access to so much technology and so much power, it's made them lazy. You know, they underestimate us. They don't think we're capable of overriding them. So they're just gonna, you know, they're just gonna have us right in our faces. They're just gonna show it to us on live TV or on the news every day. And they're going to show us our president pulling out the chair and pushing the chair in for his real boss. And, you know, there's no hiding it anymore. Again, the idea of the pyramids being a tomb is a joke. And people have been talking about underneath the pyramids and inside the pyramids and all that shit forever. Why do people think they're off limits? Why would the Egyptian government just be able to keep the rest of the world? Like, the Egyptian government is just an invisible bullshit border system set up by whoever. The pyramids don't belong to them. They belong to all of us. This is a national, like this is an international. This is a monument to our history. To think that they're just allowed to be like, nope, they're off limits, no investigating. Who's okay with that? But that's what they do. Because they know they know the narrative they give us is bullshit. And you have these other narratives, they're aligned with Orion and all. You just don't. You're like, well, there are 3 of them. And they're so far, yeah, I guess that could be the same thing as Orion's belt. Okay. That's all it takes. They just throw out a little bit of breadcrumbs and you're like, okay. Hey, you're not going to make fun of me, right? I believe what I'm supposed to believe. Don't make fun of me, okay? That's all it takes. Think about it. Like, the idea that it's coming out now that the photographs from the satellite up in space, that they're now saying that there might be some infrastructure and whatnot underneath these pyramids. And actually, what they say are they're columns, spiral columns that go down 2,000 meters or some shit. So what about all the people for all the time prior to that was like, you're a conspiracy theorist. There's nothing underneath the pyramid. All the crybaby bullshit that was used before. Same shit. The same people are going to call you a conspiracy theorist. You don't believe what I believe? Oh, well, there's something wrong with you. You're bad. It's right there, guys. And as I say, I think they know. I think they're terrified. When you look at all of the effort and energy that's put into my feed, they gave it a trial run. Right? When I switched over to YouTube, I don't think they were expecting it, because I had been pretty quiet for a few weeks or months before that. Facebook what was the point? It's Facebook was what this is. So I went to YouTube. And I think they wanted to see what would happen. What a great gauge of where society is. Letting me say what I have to say and see how it's received. And it was, it exceeded all expectations. Thousands and thousands of people. All sorts of shares, all sorts of comments and positives. And there was a lot of people, I'm sure, that were scared, but still wanted people to know. And when it got to that point where I had been getting consistent enough numbers to where YouTube should start paying me, they shut it down. Right? Simple. It's all right here for you. It's all really obvious. The thing that made me the pariah 5 years ago, while everybody was scared of COVID, and I was telling you guys, it's not COVID, it's Israel. It all has to do with Israel. I mean, think about like even my wife, 5 years ago, was telling me I can't say these things. I can't generalize like this. I can't. You tell me what in the last 5 years has made it either I'm more wrong or I'm more right. Which side would you go down? I've been right. There's to and be like, dude, you were so wrong about that. to the point where I'm predicting shit. I predicted COVID. I predicted October 7th. The fact is, who am I? I'm some doofus. Some doofus in Michigan on his fucking live feed. I shouldn't be able to make even slightly accurate predictions, especially predictions that go against the grain. For me to even be kind of close is impressive as fuck. Do you know that Kanye has said all kinds of crazy shit since the Netanyahu cover? Because what you guys don't know is that when Kanye got in trouble, and that was all anybody could talk about, that and Kyrie for posting that fucking link, and that whole shenanigans where Kanye said he can say what he wants about the J people, that he's Semitic because of being black people are also Semitic, and that everyone in Hollywood has J's in their contracts. Do you remember the fervor, the fanaticism that was in place? How people were just outrageous, and everybody had an opinion. That fucking idiot did he? Everybody had some opinion, and everybody thought he was gonna unalive himself, and the whole time I was telling you, like, he's just doing his job. I fell for it for a minute because I was just so happy to hear that somebody finally said these things. Somebody on his level. But then as it unfolded, it was just obvious. And with hindsight, you know that at the same, like the day before this, or the day after this shit went international, the coalition, the Netanyahu coalition, the most racist, supremacist coalition to ever be put into office, was put in office. So while you weren't paying attention because of Kanye, what's happening right now was the final piece was put in place. Although I guess the final piece would be Trump being put in place, wouldn't it? But they put Netanyahu in, despite the fact that he's this criminal under indictment. Like, everything that was Trump the second time was Netanyahu. If I've said for years, if you want to know what's going to happen in the United States, just read the Israeli news. It may be a couple days, weeks, months, even years, but if you pay attention, they literally run the same stories. They run it in Israel. It's like Israel's the test market. And they launched their goofy ass, chicken breast, or fried chicken sandwich where the bun is made of chicken, and they see how it goes. And then they go, okay, well, that's what they do. They test it out in Israel. And you could see that happening during COVID more than anything. I'm telling you, they're bringing that shit back this fall. Hope you guys are ready for it. They're going to bring back COVID and fuck everything up again. And then it'll get blamed on Biden. Biden brought COVID back. Anyway, my shit is so shut down right now. Interesting how that works. Yo, have a great day, you pedophiles. Fucking kill yourself.